Good evening. My name is Alexis Vulgaris, the RTM moderator. As all members have received a copy of the call for tonight's meeting, the reading of the call shall be omitted. This evening, we have a wonderful group of Girl Scouts representing different troops throughout the town, and we are going to invite them to lead us in the pledge as well as present their color guard. And the young ladies who would like to do the color guard are going to come up here. Be very careful going up the stage steps, and you're going to queue up right in the center so everyone can see you. And whoever is reciting the pledge is welcome to use the podium. So I know Miss McCursey has something to offer.
Good evening. My name is Riona McCursey, and I am a 12th grade Girl Scout at Greenwich High School. On March 12, 1912, Juliet Gordon Lowe registered the first Girl Scouts in Savannah, Georgia. In honor of this important date, Greenwich Girl Scouts will perform tonight's color guard. Color guard, prepare to present the colors. Audience, please rise. Color guard, advance. Will you please join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now we have a few important Girl Scout reminders from Girl Scouts of Greenwich. On Sunday, April 19th, Greenwich Girl Scouts and the League of Women Voters Greenwich will host our annual Women in Government event at Town Hall. We invite all women in government, BET, BOE, RTM, Town of Greenwich staff to help our youngest constituents learn how to make an impact in our community. This annual expo-style event is free of charge and open to the public. Selectwoman Rabin and Selectwoman Khanna will give tours of Town Hall. Please join us. To learn more, please go to bit.ly/WIG26. And in case you were wondering, Greenwich Girl Scout cookies will arrive on Saturday, March 14th. Color guard dismissed. Audience, you may be seated. Have a great meeting.
Thank you very much. I'd like to now recognize Frederick Lee of District 1.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Moderator and fellow RTM members, I rise today with a heavy heart to honor the memory of Mary B. McInerney, a remarkable woman who dedicated her life of 27 years to serving District 1 and the town of Greenwich as a member of this RTM body. Mary served District 1 from 1968 to 1995. A family told me that one boast Mary ever made was that she was consistently the top vote earner in District 1 RTM whenever she ran, a testament to the deep trust and respect her constituents passed in her. But those numbers only begin to tell the story of who Mary was and what she meant to our community. I didn't have the privilege of knowing Mary personally, but in preparing this tribute, I've heard from many who did. The phrase I kept hearing is that Mary was a force of nature. And speaking with her family, it's abundantly clear why. Born in Greenwich in 1931 to Irish immigrant parents, baptized at St. Mary's Church on Greenwich Avenue, and educated at St. Mary's Elementary School, Mary lived all 94 years of her life in Greenwich she loved fiercely and proudly. She grew up with 8 brothers and sisters who she nurtured and adored their entire lives. She embodied the American dream, rising from accountant to vice president of finance at American Sign-Maid. During a time when women in corporate leadership was rare, she brought that same determination, intelligence, and work ethic to her service on the RTM and numerous other town boards. One of Mary's favorite assignments was serving on the Board of Tax Assessments and Appeals. Her family tells me she had many stories about appellees who thought they could pull a fast one by disregarding facts. Wrong women there. Mary's commitment to fairness and her eye for detail made her a formidable in any role she took on. Mary's commitment to the Greenwich extended far beyond this chamber. She was a founding committee member of the Greenwich Hibernian St. Patrick's Day Parade 37 years ago, and thereafter organized their annual dinner dance. She worked for the registrars of voters on elections. She served Meals on Wheels and organized Red Cross blood drives, serving tuna sandwiches to donors. She was a member and voluntary accountant for the Greenwich Women's Club. Her charitable works were thorough and heartfelt. For several years, she adopted an Appalachian family for Christmas, searching high and low across Westchester and Fairfield counties for exactly what was on their list in their sizes, then packing it all up and sending it off. She was active in local and state politics, supporting candidates including Ned Lamont's run for Board of Selectmen and his Senate campaign. She was instrumental in launching the careers of many prominent politicians who serve our community today. Mary was entirely devoted to her family. When her mother was at Nathaniel Witherell in her twilight years, Mary visited every day, morning, noon, and night. Her family members remembered her mother calling during a blizzard asking when Mary was coming, then telling her to call the police to bring her up. On another occasion, the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, her mother asked what time dinner was for the next day. There was no plan. Mary raced out to get the turkey and all the fixings and didn't sleep that Wednesday night to get that turkey meal on her table for her mother. She hosted family reunions for years at the family house on Millbank Avenue. Her famous deviled eggs were a staple of family favorite, and I was told they were gone in an instant. Her Irish heritage was integral to who she was. Mary made numerous trips to visit her relatives in Donegal and remained in touch with her Irish cousins her entire life. If you were Mary's friend, you were her friend for life. For many years after retirement, she gathered with former American Sign-Maid co-workers for laughs and memories. One comment her family heard repeatedly from Mary was, "If I had known I was going to live this long, I would not have retired that early." What strikes me most is something former select person Janet Stone McGuigan noted. Mary's commitment to civil engagement was legendary, and her impact on Greenwich endures. Mary's legacy is about dedication, selflessness, public service driven by deep faith. Mary McAnee lived her faith throughout action. While Mary served on the RTM for 27 years, her spirit in Greenwich spanned her entire lifetime. She brought that spirit of service, that fierce independence, and that deep caring for our community into every room. She showed us what it means to serve not for recognition, but it is the right thing to do. Mary passed peacefully on December 16, 2025, at the age of 94, surrounded by her love of her family. As we continue to work this body, let us honor her memory by following her example, by serving with integrity, by lifting up our neighbors, and by never forgetting that we are here to make Greenwich better for all its residents. On behalf of District 1 and this entire body, I extend our deepest condolences to Mary's brother Connie, her sister Anne, her 23 nieces and nephews, and her extended family. As her family so beautifully put it, Mary had a life well lived, well loved, and well done. Her light will continue to shine in the lives she touched and the community she served so well. I ask that this tribute be added to the minutes of the RTM and that we rise in silence to honor for Mary.
If everyone could please rise. Thank you. Mr. Lee, that was a lovely tribute.
Thank you. And before I yield the floor, I just want to thank Mary's family for generously sharing their memories with me. My thanks also to the Greenwich Hibernians for their recollections and to Elizabeth Sanders for letting me know of Mary's passing. So thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to recognize David Snyder, who has a announcement.
Thank you. Good evening. I want to take a moment to highlight one of the simplest and most powerful programs that our community supports. The Campership program run through the Department of Human Services. Camperships are camper scholarships, helping kids from income-eligible families attend safe, fun summer programs right here in our town. For many children, summer camp is a highlight of growing up, a place where they build confidence, make friends, and try new things. But for some families in our community, the cost of camp is simply out of reach. For working parents, especially those in hourly and essential jobs, summer can create a real challenge. When school ends, childcare doesn't magically appear. Camperships give parents peace of mind that their kids are safe, engaged, and active while they're at work. So, in other words, camperships help support working families that keep this community running. So I encourage everybody to help us with this camper scholarship. And if you get your phone out, I'll give you a URL. Go www.Greenwich DHS Fund, that's Department of Human Services Fund, dhsfund.org, and make a donation. Because in a town like Greenwich, no child should miss out on summer simply because of cost. Thank you.
Jude Collins with an announcement about, oh, there you are.
Okay, good evening. I want to, on behalf of the Greenwich Hibernians, I'd like to invite you all to march at the 50th Annual St. Patrick's Day Parade. It'll be March 22nd. We leave Town Hall at 2 p.m. You need to get there at 1. There is no parking at Town Hall. So it's non-denominational. All RTM members, please show up, wear a little green. It's a great activity. We have 12 bands, 62 groups that'll be marching. So there'll be thousands of marchers. And last year they told us that there were at least 10,000 people in attendance, but that might have been a little bit of blarney. So there is parking that will be from the Horse Neck parking lot, bringing you back and forth. So there is no parking at Town Hall. That is for the people that are have trucks or other things like that. So it's March 22nd, 2 p.m. and everybody in the RTM is. Do we have a banner? I hope.
We do not have a banner because the banner was stolen and never returned from the last one. So we'll see. District 1, I think, was last seen holding the banner last year.
Okay, so District
So-
1 has 2 weeks in which to replace the banner.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Collins, I have something for you though,
Oh, cool.
which is a lovely green little RTM hat that I hope you will wear. Yeah. If you've ever seen Jude, he is like running up and down the entire parade ground. So you can be our promo tour for that. There you go. Okay. Have I missed anyone for an announcement? Okay. As all members have received a copy of the minutes from both our January and our February special meeting, the reading of those minutes shall be omitted. Are there any proposed changes to the January minutes? Hearing none and absent objection, the January minutes stand adopted upon unanimous consent. Now, for the February minutes, I'm aware of 3 minor corrections that need to be made. Ellen Galvin, Joanne Steinhardt, and Monica Prohoda were marked as absent. They should have been marked as present. So those amendments will be made. Are there any additional corrections to the minutes? Okay, hearing none and absent objection, the February special minutes as amended stand adopted upon unanimous consent. That brings us to the call for the evening. Let's see, consent items, items 1 through 14, items 16 through 20, and items 24 and 25. Combined items are 15, 21, and 22 for the purpose of postponing to April 2026 and leaving our two separate items, 26 and 27. Where's, oh, I'm sorry, items 23 is also on the consent calendar. Craig, you're going to have to change that, I think, because I think I did not leave. So it'll be 23, 24, and 25 on there, if you can change that. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Pisano. Okay, so pursuant to our rules, I will designate the following items, 1 through 14, 16 through 20, and 23, 24 to our consent calendar. And if those items remain on the consent calendar, all you are going to hear is what what?
Miss 25.
Items 23, 24, and 25 are going on consent. Yes. Oh, you didn't meet Ms. Hessel. All right, nobody told me that. All right, so we're going to change it then. 23 is coming off consent per Mr. Newman, so you will be making a motion to, okay. We are going to add to combined 15, 21, 22, and 23, right? Which means that 24, 25 and 20, I'm sorry, 26 and 27 are separate. Is that right? Have I got it right? I think we have. We'll just start it and you'll all yell at me if I haven't done it correctly. Okay? So we're going to start with the consent calendar. Item 1 is the nomination of Francis Kip Bergweger to the Claims Committee for a term expiring December 31st, 2027. Item 2 is the nomination of Glenn Canner to the Claims Committee for a term expiring December 31st, 2027. Item 3 is the nomination of Craig Chapman to the Claims Committee for a term expiring December 31st, 2027. Item 4 is the appointment of Edward Dudakis to the Claims Committee for a term expiring December 31st, 2027. Item 5 is the nomination of Aaron Leonard to the Claims Committee for a term expiring December 31st, 2027. Item 6 is the appointment of Jane Sulich to the Claims Committee for a term expiring December 31st, 2027. Item 7 is the appointment of James Weisbecker to the Claims Committee for a term expiring December 31st, 2027. Item 8 is the appointment of Greg Zorthian to the Claims Committee for a term expiring December 31st, 2027. Item 9 is the appointment of Kimberly Blank to the Claims Committee for the term expiring December 31st, 2027. Item 10 is the appointment of Adam Leader to the Labor Contracts Committee for a term expiring December 31st, 2027. Item 11 is Anthony Cicchetti to the Labor Contracts Committee for a term expiring December 31st, 2027. Item 12 is Glenn Canner to the Labor Contracts Committee for a term expiring December 31st, 2027. Item 13 is Kimberly Blank, nominated for the Labor Contracts Committee for a term expiring December 31st, 2027. Item 14 is Holly Bayram being appointed Labor Contracts Committee for a term expiring December 31st, 2027. 15, we are postponing. 16 is Vinay Pandey to the Affordable Housing Trust Fund Advisory Council for a term expiring December 31st, 2027. Item 16 is Michael Gaudiano for the Affordable Housing Trust Fund Advisory Council for a term expiring December 31st, 2027. Item 18 is Brian Myers to the Affordable Housing Trust for a term expiring March 31st, 2027. Item 18 is Allison Berman to the Affordable Housing Trust for a term expiring March 31st, 2028. Item 20 is Robert Pruitt for a term, Harbor Management Commission for a term expiring March 31st, 2029, postponing 21, 22, and 23. Now we're off to 24, which is Andy Deuce to become a member of the Riverside School Building Committee, no expiration date. Item 25 is the appointment of Benjamin Chinsky to be a member of the Riverside School Building Committee. No expiration date. 26 and 27, I think we're done. All right. You got it all, Craig? Okay. Is there anyone that objects to any of that? Okay. Craig, we're going to open the window. You will have 1 minute to vote on the combined calendar, or the consent calendar, sorry. We need to add, is that right? Yeah, we're right. Yes. Yeah, because we took off 20, 21, 22. Okay. Yeah, I think we're good. Okay. If you approve of those going on the consent calendar, you would vote yes. If you're opposed, you would vote no.
As soon as I hit play on
Oh, we had such a good playlist. And in honor of spring training, it was Center Field by John Fogerty, but apparently it doesn't like my playlist. So we're gonna not play music. Is that what you're telling me, Craig? All right, he's gently telling me that, and we'll see if he changes his mind later on. But try and open it and we'll vote and see what happens. Nope, no one has voted yet. We're just gonna restart it. Let's see. Huh? It has to now that it kicked us out, it just needs a moment to revisit itself.
These are all physical bodies, right? Physical.
So we're just gonna force quit it, restart, and see what happens. So you can talk amongst yourselves for a few minutes.
coming either. He has dementia, right?
Okay, it should be open now and you can start voting.
Coming in, as soon as they got play, like literally like play. Oh, well, I think something like internally within the program. I'm sure. I don't know that. Yeah.
My mother used to call back the numbers.
I think that's.
So, okay, they get me, it's like, she can't name it, you know, but she can't name it.
Oh, well, I did, it just.
Very fancy.
Caught my
Very
eye.
pretty.
Yeah. Like this time, we had anything played. It was all.
Okay, has everyone voted who would like to vote? Okay, Craig, can you please close the vote? Okay, I have the vote on the consent calendar. Those in favor, 182, opposed 1, abstaining 3. Those items have carried. Craig, can you show that, please? That now brings us to the items that we anticipate postponing until our April meeting, which are items 15, 21, 22, and 23. In order to combine items, we do need a motion to suspend the rules. Is there a motion to suspend the rules to combine for voting purposes items 15, 21, 22, and 23? It has been moved and seconded to combine for voting purposes 15, 21, 22, and 23. The motion to suspend the rules is not debatable and does require a 2/3 to pass. We will first try this by unanimous consent, but if anyone objects, we will take a record vote. Is there anyone that objects to suspending the rules to combine those items for voting purposes? Hearing none and absent objection, the motion to suspend the rules and combine for voting purposes items 15, 21, 22, and 23 has been adopted upon unanimous consent. So we're going to go to 15. And who is introducing that resolution? Who's postponing it? Frederick Lee of the Appointments Committee.
Resolved that the following named person nominated by the RTM Appointments Committee be appointed a regular member of R2 of the Flood Erosion Control Board for the term expiring December 2029. Donna Lafayette.
Thank you. May a member please move the adoption of the resolution? That is when somebody yells out second. Okay. The resolution has been moved and seconded and is now before us. Mr. Lee, who's postponing it? I'm sorry, you recommended that. So Public Works or Land Use, who wants to come up and offer that motion to postpone? Sandy Harris, our Chair of our Land Use Committee.
Hello, I'd like to make a motion to postpone to the next meeting.
Thank you. That motion on behalf of coming from behalf of a committee does not require a second. Public Works, are you okay with that? Okay. That brings us to the next item that we expect to postpone, which is item 21. Jenny Larkin, right? Who's going next? And that is being postponed by, as I understand it, Parks and Recreation. Myra Clockenbrink, the Chair of the Parks and Recreation Committee. Oh, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry, you passed it. You have that. It's land use that's postponing that one again, I believe. I'm sorry. There's so many that are all jumbled up here. Sorry.
Okay, resolved that Jenny Larkin, nominated by the Board of Selectmen, be appointed as a regular member of the Harbor Management Commission for a term expiring March 31st, 2029.
Thank you. Is there a second? The resolution has been moved and seconded and is now before us. Ms. Harris, you may offer your motion.
I'd like to make a motion to postpone Jenny Larkin to the next meeting.
Okay, great. Anyone object to that? Okay, that brings us to item 22, Bernard Armstrong, and I believe that is where I have you, Ms. Clockenbrink, correct? Okay,
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Resolved that Bernard Armstrong as a nominee for the Harbor Management Commission has been postponed.
okay.
Oh.
Before we do that, do you have a copy of the call? We just need
I
to
do
have.
not. I do
Okay.
not. I did.
Here,
Thank you.
Ms. LaBalbo has one for you. Just read item 22 into the record.
Thank you.
Sure.
Resolved. Yes. Resolved that the following named person nominated by the Board of Selectmen be appointed as a regular member of the Harbor Management Commission for a term expiring March 31st, 2029.
Thank you. Is there a second? The resolution has been moved and seconded and is now before us. And Ms. Clockenbrink, now you can offer your motion to postpone it.
I'm learning this. I make a motion to postpone Bernard Armstrong's nomination to the following.
Okay, Parks and Rec is making that
Yeah, Parks
nomination,
and Rec
correct?
is
Okay.
making it.
Anyone object? Okay. Now we're going to go to our last item on the postponed calendar. Mr. Newman, Chair of our Town Services Committee.
Resolved that the following named person nominated by the Board of Selectmen be appointed as a regular member of the Board of Ethics for term expiring June 30th, 2029.
Okay.
Unfortunately, due to what we
Wait. Is there a second? The item has been moved and seconded is before us. Okay.
oh, Joey Hessel, sorry.
Yeah.
There you go, little thing.
And a name. Yeah.
Town Services had the problem that we discussed in the moderators meeting. Ms. Hessel went to the appointments committee thinking she was coming to us and didn't know that she had to come to us. So we need to postpone until next month.
Thank you. All right. So we have four items on our postponement calendar. Items, let's go back. I think it's 15, 21, 22, and 23. We can adopt the motion to postpone upon unanimous consent to our April meeting. Does anyone object? Okay, the items on the combined calendar stand adopted upon unanimous consent, and they are being postponed to April 2026. Okay, that now brings us to the first of our two separate items, which is item 26. Who is introducing that? That is the $700,000 appropriation for Nathaniel Witherell. Do we have a member of the Nathaniel Witherell executive staff here to introduce that? Is anyone here from Nathaniel Witherell? Okay. Could we have somebody read that into the record? Oh. If you don't already have a copy of the call, you may want one to read what's on the call.
Okay. Which page? Good. All right, thank you. All right, I'm Peter Kelly. I'm the chairman of the board of the Nathaniel Witherall. And I'm reading the motion that resolved that the sum of $700,000 is hereby appropriated and be added to the following account, H4505970 galvanized pipe replacement, project number 25399, Nathaniel Witherall.
Thank you very much. Will a member please move the adoption of the resolution? The resolution has been moved and seconded and is now before us. May we have the reports from the committees that considered this item, beginning with Scott Kalb, Chairman of our Finance Committee.
Thank you, Madam Moderator, and good evening, fellow members of the RTM. I'm speaking on behalf of the Finance Committee. We met with Peter Kelly, the chair of the Nathaniel Witherall Board, and John Mastronardi, the executive director of Nathaniel Witherall, to consider this request. Very quick details. Originally, the RTM had previously approved a $477,000 appropriation to replace multiple vertical stacks that were in need of repair at the Nathaniel Witherall, and also $225,000 to repair the sewer drains. It was a total appropriation of $702,000. Actually, what happened is when the walls were opened at Nathaniel Witherall and they started to see the extent of the damage, they realized that they needed to make a further interim request. They noted that the pipes were far more, the damage was far more extensive than originally thought. And if the pipes actually were not treated properly, leaks and clog conditions could pose a potential hazard to the residents in Nathaniel Witherall. And if they burst, they would cause extensive damage to the facility. They also noted that the previously appropriated, actually, if this interim request is not approved, funds will run out at the end of March. And if that were to happen, they would have to stop their work, and they wouldn't be able to keep the current contractors on the job. If the project is further delayed, also we note that 12 semi-private beds are not available while all the water and piping issues are resolved, and not having those beds available would actually put Nathaniel Witherall in further financial distress. The Finance Committee in general noted that we prefer funding capital projects through the annual budget cycle rather than through interim requests. And the chairman and executive director of Nathaniel Witherall agreed, but they did note that in this case, it was really difficult to know the extent of the damage until the walls had been opened up. Finance Committee requested further information about future capital planning and maintenance spending plans. We approve the item 1200.
Who's going next? Cheryl Moss, Chair of our Public Works Committee.
Good evening. Scott did an excellent job covering this item, and the only thing I would add is that there is also a 5% contingency included in this new request. Public Works voted 11-0-0 with District 1 absent. Thank you.
Next up, Kathy Steele, Chair of our Health and Human Services Committee.
Good evening. Thank you. As Cheryl said, a lot has already been said, so I will add just one or two things. To date, 131 valves have been replaced and 6 of 12 plumbing stacks have been completed. The efficiency has improved and contractors have better sequenced demolition and construction. The pace of replacements now has increased from 8 to 10 per week to 4 to 5 per week, and the work is projected to finish in October of 26. The Nathaniel Witherall team highlighted for us some lessons learned during this project. They would like stronger project oversight in the future, better capital planning, and development of a preventative maintenance for the whole house. Item 26 was approved 1100. District 2 was absent. Thank you.
And finally, James Waters, Chair of our Budget Overview Committee.
Good evening. 10 days ago, the Budget Overview Committee voted to postpone this item, given that we did not have representation at our meeting. Tonight, however, we convened a special meeting and voted 1100 to approve the item as listed on the call, and we are withdrawing our postponement on this item. We did have Board Chair Peter Kelly and Executive Director John Mastronardi with us. Key items I would highlight that haven't already been mentioned that are important for everybody to be aware is the original budget for this project was clearly flawed. And I think obviously, it seems like the Nathaniel Witherell gang has identified that as something to fix going forward. The other thing is that the interim is based on actual quotes from subcontractors. It's not somebody sitting in a room guesstimating on what this will cost. Current funding is down to $75,000. So what you heard earlier is true. At the end of this month, the funding will run out. And if not, if we heard that if this interim is not approved, work on the project will cease until it is resolved. And then the final thing I would just note is that Board Chair Peter Kelly discussed this with the BET last month, and was asked if there was some offsets that could be had. And the BET Budget Committee, you may have seen this, last week removed a $735,000 ceiling replacement project from the capital budget in the upcoming budget to help offset the cost of this interim appropriation. That project is less near term, less about the safety and quality of life of the residents, and it's worth you guys all knowing. So our vote was 1100. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Does anyone want to debate this item? Or no one has signed up to speak, but if anyone has anything to say, you're welcome to come to the podium. Otherwise, we're just going to call for the vote. Does anyone, any further commentary on this item? Okay. Craig, could you please prepare the vote? This is item 26. It's a $700,000 interim appropriation for Witherell's galvanized pipe replacement. If you're in favor of this interim, you would vote yes. If you're opposed, you would vote no. Craig, could you please open up the window? Good. This would have been the point in the playlist where we would have played The Roof is Leaking by Phil Collins. It was a very good playlist, and I'm very upset that we can't do it. And all of the amendments had little number themes. It was so good, and it's dead.
Yep. I had to hunt him down.
Okay, has everyone voted who would like to vote? I'm sorry. Okay, what I recommend is if you are using the app and you're in the room, to please just sign and get a clicker, because it's much easier to use a clicker than it is the app right now. Ms. Harris, are you all set? You're all set? Okay. Everybody else all set? Okay, we're going to close the vote. Craig, could you close the vote, please?
That's the vote.
Okay, I have the vote on item 26, the $700,000 interim appropriation. Those in, for Nathaniel Witherall's galvanized pipes, those in favor, 191, opposed 5, abstaining 2. That item has carried. Craig, could you show the vote, please? Okay. There we go. Now to the main event. Item, what number are we at? 27, right? Okay, this is a proposed charter change. Who would like to read that into the, who wants to introduce that resolution? So we do not have a, I don't know if any of the selectmen are here or not, but was someone back there? Lauren Raven, come on down. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Okay.
So you just want me to read it?
You can abbreviate it if you want and just refer to the text where you're, you know, the article, the section number and what you're changing, if that's helpful.
Okay, it is item number 27, resolved Article 13, Representative Town Meeting, Section 173 Meeting Procedure, subsection A of the Town Charter to be amended as follows. Meetings procedure, the moderator may call a meeting of the members at any time. The moderator and in his or her absence or inability, the town clerk shall call such a meeting upon the request of the first selectman or the chairman of the Board of Estimate and Taxation, or upon the application of, and here's the big thing, crossing out 20 and changing it to 350 registered voters of the town to hold within 60 days after receiving such an application.
Thank you. Is there a second? The item has been moved and seconded and is now before us. So we're going to have committee reports from every single committee because it was referred to every standing committee. But I just want to sort of review how the process is going to work and how this item got here. So there is no principal proponent or opponent. You are all your own opponent or proponent of this item. Charter change cannot be initiated by the RTM. It can only be initiated by the Board of Selectmen or the BET if it's a matter that concerns finance. This is an issue that has been percolating for a number of years. I asked the Board of Selectmen if they would consider it. They graciously did, and they waived the second read so it could come to us this month as opposed to in the future. And now we have an opportunity to decide what we want to do with it. I offer no merits on what you want to do with it, but you will hear committee reports from every committee. The number starts at 350. As you are all aware, we have motions to bring that number down, 175 and 50. We are going to take all of those motions up independently because we don't do a motion to amend a pending motion to amend. It's just going to, we'll vote on the 100. We'll see where that goes. Then we'll vote on the 75, 50 until we get to the end. And then depending on where we settle, we also have a motion to postpone the item indefinitely being offered from District 4. I'll explain that when we get a little bit closer. I do anticipate that if the motion to postpone indefinitely fails, that there will be a motion to suspend the second read requirement. And then that will, if that passes by a 2/3 vote, it will give us the opportunity to take dispositive action this evening and vote the item up or down. I will revisit this with you as we're going through it. But whoever wants to go first as chair, you are certainly welcome to go.
Okay, the Appointments Committee took this up on Tuesday, the 3rd. The vote as written on the call was 7-4-0. The no votes were to leave it alone, to reduce it further, or to just keep it as is. So that was it.
Okay. I do want to say that everybody has gone to the moderators meeting, has really adopted one of the tenets that we spoke about, which was don't repeat yourself and keep it brief. So you guys have been doing a great job. You all wore your listening ears this evening. All right. James Waters, Chair of our Budget Overview Committee.
Okay, the Budget Review Committee voted 7-4-0 to amend the signature threshold on this item from 350 to 100, and then voted 7-4-0 to approve the item as amended. Key points I would just mention, we discussed this at length. I'm sure you all have as well. We did also, we heard arguments for doing this. We heard arguments against it. We also discussed the existing alternative avenues to get something on the call. Those include appealing to an RTM district or the Board of Selectmen. Both of these paths enable a resident to skip any signature requirement and remains in place regardless of the RTM's action on the item before us tonight. I will likely leave it there and discuss our amendment at a later date. Again, our vote at BOC was 7-4-0 with District 1 absent.
Thank you. Scott Kalb, Chair of our Finance Committee.
Thank you. The Finance Committee took up this matter. Basically, in our discussions, we felt that the current 20 limit is too low. We also felt that the 350 signature requirement that was proposed was too high. We had a long, extensive discussion about somewhere between 20 and 100. In the end, the committee decided that 50 was the right number, and we voted 12-0-0 to amend the motion to a requirement of 50 signatures, and then we approved that amended motion by a vote of 12-0-0. And I'll make our motion to amend at the appropriate time.
Thank you. Next, we have Sandy Harris, Chair of our Land Use Committee.
Hello. I might take just an extra 30 seconds because I think the discussions at the Land Use Committee were a little bit different. At first, there were a wide variety of opinions on this, with some people, obviously feeling 350 was too high, or that even more than 350 was appropriate, and some feeling that there shouldn't be a change at all. So we were aware of the BOC amendment at the time, and after a show of hands and after lengthy discussion like everyone else had, there was little support in the committee to vote for the BOC amendment. So then we discussed how, creating our own amendment with a lower number, and there was no interest in that either. So at the conclusion of our discussion, we voted on the item unamended and rejected it 111-0, with all but D2 voting no. And the primary sentiment was just that our job as elected officials is to be readily available to the citizens of the town, and that the charter currently works and should not be amended. Thank you.
Thank you. Cheryl Moss, Chair of our Public Works Committee.
Good evening. Public Works discussed this at some length, just like the other committees. And we felt 350 was too high and it could be prohibitive to people putting out petitions. We wanted to still be, approachable. We also felt 20 did not really reflect a wide enough support from the community. So we went around and around on a whole bunch of different numbers and eventually decided to support the motion from the BOC for at 100. We voted, I believe that was, oops, sorry. Apologize. 11-1-0 with District 10 voting no. He believes that the current 20 vote threshold was appropriate for the RTM. Thank you.
Thank you. Sam Rosenfeld, Vice Chair of our Education Committee.
Thank you very much. We took up this item. 350 was the beginning. We all decided that was too high. And then we immediately began with throwing numbers out like 175. That's cutting 350 in half. That failed 480. We then cut it down to 100. That passed 840. Is this the time where we should read off the details of the discussion, or
Sure,
are we
you're
getting back
welcome
on
to
time?
do that. No, I think Mr. Waters is going to synthesize the motion and you do your thing.
Yeah, the proponents of this bring it down to 100 all felt that it was a means of efficiency and also showing that there was a more significant number of people behind each motion that came before us than 20 people. The dissent to this felt that at 100 signatures, that might be too high and restrict democratic participation. Changing the number was unnecessary as 20 signatures seem to be working so far. Lowering the barrier to entry is vital to representing voices of citizens who might not typically speak up or have large networks to tap into. Last two things they mentioned are we should look to fix the process before we change the number, that changing the number doesn't actually change the process. And the last one was just that maybe we should make the number the same as it takes for any of us to be on the ballot for the RTM, which was interesting.
Thank you.
I should have said that was interesting. Yeah.
Thank you. Annabelle Gatto with our transportation report.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. Transportation discussed this matter at length and agreed 350 is too high. 2 members felt strongly about a lower threshold around 20 to 30. No one on transportation was willing to support requiring more than 100 signatures, and we voted 9-3-0 to support the BOC amendment to 100 signatures. Thank you and good evening.
Thank you. Myra Clockenbrink, Chair of our Parks and Rec Committee.
Thank you. The Parks and Rec Committee took a very practical approach and voted in favor of the BOC amendment to item 27 by a vote of 9-1-0, with D2 voting no because he felt 350 was the appropriate threshold. D3 and D10 were absent. Thank you.
Thank you. Kathy Steele, Chair of our Health and Human Services Committee.
Hello again. In the Health and Human Services Committee discussion of item 26, the committee agreed the current standard of 20 signatures should be increased and agreed the proposed threshold of 350 was too high. At the time of our meeting, we were aware of the BOC motion for 100 signatures and a Finance Committee motion for 50 signatures. Those were the only motions we'd had heard of at the time. Pros and cons of each alternative were discussed. Members noted a practical concern. Finance's amendment for 50 might be rejected because it's too low. The BOC amendment for 100 might be rejected as too high. If both amendments would be rejected, the RTM would then vote on the originally proposed 350, which we all felt would fail, resulting in no change to the current requirement of 20 signatures. We didn't want the significant effort across all committees on this item to result in no change to the status quo. In line with that sentiment, District 10 introduced a motion to set the requirement at 75 signatures. Members described this as a practical middle ground that raises the threshold while keeping it achievable. The happy compromise also stays close to the historical proportional standard. In 1933, 20 signatures represented about 0.125% of the town's 16,000 electors. The same percentage of today's registered voters would be about 50 signatures. We decided to split it in the middle. The committee voted 11-0-0 to approve the amendment. District 2 was absent.
Kip Bergweger, Chair of our Legislative and Rules Committee.
Madam Moderator, fellow members of the RTM and guests, Legislative and Rules met to discuss this item last Monday. We had spent some time before we got to this because we dealt with our budget. And so we got to this item, although it was last on the call, it was later than we had anticipated. But we all were in agreement that there was probably 200 or 350 signatures, which was too many. We were advised that that was approximately 1% of the registered voters. Whether that's true or not, I don't know now, but that's what we were told. But we felt that 350 was too high, would deter legitimate petitions. We thought that 20 was probably too low, because it's been demonstrated that there are numerous poorly researched petitions that can come to us. Although it turned out that the Explanos had, I think, 8 items from last year, which was probably the most we've ever had. But that was, who knows, maybe that would be what would still be coming. We did identify alternate pathways to get through districts and committees. Then we were only aware at that point that the Budget Overview Committee had taken a vote to amend the provision to 100 votes. And we talked about that number for a while, and then we voted to support the BOC resolution. We voted 8-0 with districts 2 and 12 voting against. However, then they moved to come to talk about other lower numbers, which we had not really addressed. And at that point, we already had a motion to approve 100. So we took a motion to reconsider our previous vote, and that was 5-0. So half of our group wanted to consider lower numbers, but it was too late to do so.
The drama in LNR there, Mr. Bergweger. Richard Newman, Chair of our Town Services Committee.
Madam Moderator, members of the RTM, Town Services met last Tuesday, the 3rd. We had the knowledge that there were already 4 committees that had brought the number or were backing the BOC motion of 100. I think our group was feeling 175 was actually a better number, but knowing we didn't really want to bring another amendment tonight, so we settled on 100. As the BOC, we're supporting the BOC amendment at 100. Our vote was 11-0-0 with District 10 absent. Thank you.
Thank you. I think I've called on all the chairs. I think you're all done. There's no one over there. Okay, now, this is where the fun begins. Mr. Carlson, have you been elevated to a chair? Because right about now, you are not going to that podium. We haven't opened debate yet.
I'm not to talk.
Correct. You can talk when we open it up for debate, but we're going to have a motion to amend to 100, and you can speak on that, but we first have to get it before us. So the reverse auction is going to start now, okay? We have a number of 350. Our first motion to amend is going to be offered by, I believe it's 7 committees, 7 standing committees have voted in favor of bringing the number to 100. They've all worked together. They've agreed that since BOC was the first to offer that motion, that James Waters would present as a collection of all of their concerns. So Mr. Waters, the floor is yours.
Okay, good evening. As I described earlier, The BOC amendment replaces the number as listed on the call with the number 350 with the number 100. BOC's vote on this amendment was 7-4-0, as I said. As you heard from the other committee chairs, that same amendment was endorsed by the following seven committees: BOC, Education, Legislative and Rules, Parks and Rec, Public Works, Town Services, and Transportation. Across all seven committees, there were 63 votes in support of this amendment and 15 votes against. The key reasons referenced by members in proposing the amendment. Number one, members supported an increase to the threshold, but felt 350 signatures was too high a bar. Number two, members felt a 100 signature threshold was a higher bar than 20, but still quite manageable for the average resident trying to make change in the community. A few members highlighted that 100 signatures could easily be obtained by working Greenwich Avenue or the Holly Hill transfer station. It would, however, be a bit more difficult than simply getting 2 signatures from 10 households. Number three, members believed an item placed on the call with 100 signatures would help ensure there is broader community support for a proposal prior to consideration by the RTM. There was a general feeling that several petition-led items on the call in recent years have been demonstrated to have support from a narrow interest group rather than a broader population across town. And number four, alternative paths to get items on the call will continue to exist with a far lower threshold than 100 signatures. As examples, members cited that a proposal to a district requires only 6 votes from District 3, for example, or 14 votes from District 8. That would be the max. Every other district would require between 6 and 14 votes. If a proposal comes through the Board of Selectmen, 2 votes is required to get an item placed on the call. To BOC members, and I hear from the other committees, this amendment was about good governance and allowing the RTM to focus on things that matter most to the community while balancing members' desire to maintain an open path for residents to engage with the RTM. Thank you.
Okay, now we're going to open this motion, which is the combined 7 committee motion to drop down to 100, open for debate. There are a couple people who have signed up for this. If there are others, I don't know, Mr. Carlson, what you were intending to speak on, but if your interest is to talk about dropping it from 350 to 100, I'm looking for Peter Cruikshank to be followed by Seth Bacon. And then anyone else who wants to speak on this motion, just go behind Mr. Bacon on the side.
Good evening, Madam Moderator, fellow RTM members and guests. My name is Peter Cruikshank. I represent D8. I'm on the Finance Committee. I encourage you to vote yes on the BOC amendment to require 100 signatures. I'll cover 2 points. As James just mentioned, Greenwich residents have 3 options besides petitioning to add an item to the call. They can present their ideas to the Board of Selectmen, one of the 12 standing committees, or one of the 12 RTM districts.
And whatever conversation is going on in District 1, which I'm sure is lovely, if you'd like to have it, I welcome you to have it outside, but please don't interrupt the speaker. It's very disruptive.
Thank you. So, and again, for these bodies, you just need a majority vote first. So for a standing committee, it's 7. Members of these town governmental bodies can guide the petitioner to town employees, committees, commissions, boards that have expertise and institutional knowledge to flesh out and improve their proposal, or that advise them of problems with their proposal. I would suggest as part of this process going forward is that the town clerk's office update the petition instructions to encourage the petitioner first to seek approval from one of these 3 government bodies. Number 2, comparing the effort to get 20 signatures in 1933 to 100 signatures today is comparing apples to pumpkins. same color, you know. Petitioners can email and text the proposal to their town contacts to identify voters who will sign the petition. And then they can ask those folks who want to sign the petition to reach out to their contacts. So it can be all done electronically. You still have to walk around, you still have to get the signatures, but the bulk of the work is actually identifying who will vote for it. And you can do that using 21st century technology. Please vote yes in favor of this amendment. Thank you.
Seth Bacon, member of District 4.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Good evening, fellow members and guests. My name is Seth Bacon. I'm a member of District 4, and I'm a member of the BOC. I'm here to voice my opposition to this amendment. I'm actually voicing my opposition to any adjustment to the number of signatures needed to get an item placed on the call. My opposition is rooted in the concepts of privilege and responsibility. On privilege, it is a privilege to serve on the RTM. It is a privilege to represent our districts. It's a privilege to have a voice in how our government works. It's a privilege to be able to spend the time that we do serving this town. Not everyone can make this commitment. Some don't want to do it, but many more can't do it because they work 2 jobs, they lack childcare, they don't understand the process, or they believe they don't have the right to speak up. It's also from a place of privilege that we look past how impactful this change could be on groups that feel like they don't have a voice and don't have representation in our town government. It is privilege that makes us say things like it's simple enough to go to the district, or it's too easy to get signatures on a petition. It is privilege that makes us think that the reaction we would get asking for signatures on Greenwich Avenue or at Holly Hill would be the same as someone else might, especially if they look, act, or sound different than you do. From a responsibility perspective, it is our responsibility to be the voice of everyone in Greenwich. It is our responsibility to help our community navigate town government. It's our responsibility to facilitate conversation and debate. It's our responsibility to listen to our constituents. We should be championing this as a body, not spending time debating how we make it harder for others and easier for ourselves. It's our responsibility to represent the entire town, not just our self-interests or our calendars. We're going to spend time tonight debating the merits of this item and its amendments. These changes are entirely reactionary to a handful of items brought to the RTM during the last term. The 20 signature threshold has worked for nearly 100 years, but suddenly we think there's a problem. The reaction is arbitrary, and any attempt to settle on a number of 350, 100, 75, or 50 doesn't make sense. The numbers lack any context or rationale. As another RTM member put it last week, this is a debate looking for a solution to a problem. And the irony of spending this much time, including my already too long remarks, debating an item placed on the call with exactly 0 signatures, focused on how to avoid spending time on time-consuming matters, should not be lost on anyone. Instead, we should be focused on education and information. Let's clarify the process. Let's update the town website. Let's invite people to district meetings. We don't have to make this change to help people navigate this process. It's not one or the other. At a time when political discourse, regardless of your political affiliation, is more polarized than ever, we should be encouraging more people to participate in government, not creating obstacles that make it harder. We should be encouraging debate, discussion, and participation. No matter your political views, what you look like, who you love, or in what part of town you live, everyone should have easy access to this body. I urge you to vote against this change. I urge you to vote against the 350 and any other amendments. District 4 will offer a motion to postpone this item indefinitely. I encourage you to support that. And if you don't, I encourage you to vote down the item as it was originally written. Please do not make this change. Why risk disenfranchising one voter, silencing one voice, or making one person hesitate to become part of our political process? Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we have some other folks. Please introduce yourself. It's on the, go ahead.
Good evening, Madam Moderator, and to all of my fellow RTM members. My name is Joanna Foyle. I ran for the RTM for the first time in the fall and was sworn in with all of you in January. In preparing, I read from our charter that the representative town meeting is the legislative body of the town exercising the legislative powers of the town through representatives elected from voting districts. I think that language reflects something important and fundamental. The RTM was designed to be close to the people of this town. It is meant to be representative and accessible. We are supposed to be a representative town meeting. I find myself brainstorming ways to make the demographics of this room more reflective of the community we call home. I want to better understand the barriers that prevent different groups from raising their hands to serve. I want to propose ways of systematically gathering more diverse viewpoints, even if those people don't have the time to take on a full position. I want to make sure that we are making decisions on behalf of a broad community that we fully understand. I think making it exponentially more difficult for our constituents to introduce a discussion to their representative body will further narrow our perspective. Even if achieving that volume of signatures were reasonably possible, I believe this decision would send a chilling message to those who would consider coming forward. To think that I only needed to get 25 signatures to be on the ballot for a publicly elected position, but that a constituent should have to get 14 times that number, or 2 times that number, or 4 times that number just to be heard. To justify this change, I was expecting to read about the barrage of efficiency costing items put before this body last year. That number was 8. What we are proposing is to exponentially raise the barrier between us and the people we represent. If the RTM is chartered to be the place where the voices of our districts come together, then we should be careful about making it materially more difficult for those voices to reach this floor. I'm grateful to be part of this body, and I thank you for your attention. Thank you.
Would you like to speak on this? Yeah, well, I'm asking people to speak. If you'd like to speak, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Marissa Dungy, District 2. We had discussed that I would speak on the general debate, but it occurs to me that the result of this discussion may result in a vote over the amendment for 100 to 0, and that would not give me the opportunity to speak. So jumping ahead in line a bit. I do want to echo the comments of the 2 people who spoke before me in opposition to the motion to amend the town charter to increase the number of registered voters. I didn't grow up here, but I've been here for the last decade, and my husband did, and I think it's remarkable the level of civic engagement that this town has. There's so many volunteers and so many people who are invested in the community, and I think that that's a good thing. I think the idea that we do want to encourage people to participate in government, rather than the explanatory comments as I read them, seem to have a goal of discouraging residents from participating. The alternatives give greater power to us, to members of the RTM, where just a handful of us can put something on the ballot. Our voices are already louder because we're sitting in this room and we're voting on these items. The proposal seeks to make ours the only voice. I'm not comfortable with that, and I'd encourage everybody to vote no on any of these larger numbers. Stick with what we have. Thank you.
Does anyone else want to speak on the motion to bring it from 350 to 100? Otherwise, I'm going to open the vote. Okay. Craig? Okay. Okay. Yep. All right. So let's just go through. This is the first of 3 amendments. It's asking 7 committees have suggested bring the number from 350 to 100. If you like the number 100, you would vote yes. If you are opposed to the number 100, or you are hoping for a lower number through the motion that's 75 or 50 that's coming down the pike, you would vote no. Everyone understand that? So we're going to take it in descending order. So if you want 100 or higher, you vote yes for this motion. If you want a lower number or not at all, you'd be voting no. Could you open the vote? Yep. If the majority votes yes, we now go, we're taking them in descending order. So the next item that we are going to take is the Health and Human Services motion to go down to 75. If the majority, then we would take the motion for 50. We have to get through all of those motions, and we will settle at a number. Yep. You what? No, you can't. You cannot take an indefinite postponement prior, because that is the lowest ranking motion. You have to go through procedurally how you do this. Mr. Waters. Yeah, so I'm assuming, so there is no prohibition. We have 3 known amendments, right? We have 100, 75, 50. at the end, I'm going to say, is there any other motion coming from the floor? Someone may, I doubt it, but someone may say, I want it 150, I want it 200. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm not ruling that possibility out. So if your number is 100, if you like the number 100, or you intend to offer something higher, all we know is that we're getting lower options after this. So you would lock in at 100, and then we're going to go from there. Yes. Why don't you come to the podium? Why don't you come to the podium? Because I don't want to have this.
Can we vote yes on 100 and then vote yes on 75 and then vote 50, or am I
You were
limited?
going to vote on whether or not you want it to go to 100. If 100 passes, I don't know how you're going to vote. You can vote yes or no. Okay. If 100 passes, we now have another motion to amend this item to 75. Okay. We start at that point when we're taking up the 75 number, we're starting at 100, right? And then you will vote on, do you want 75 or do you want to keep it at 100? If the motion for 75 fails, we are still at 100 because that would have passed. Then we're going to drop down to 50, right? If the motion for 50 carries, then the number is at 50. If it fails, it stays at 100. Okay, we all good?
Thank you.
Are we all good? Okay, you are now voting on, do you want the number to drop from 350 to 100? Yes or no? Craig, you can open up the. Craig, were you gonna, do you have the music? We may, this was, I don't know what we had for this one. I think it was 99 Luft balloons or something. We'll see. He has a speaker that he found out of his. Oh, he got it. Has everyone voted who would like to vote? Did you vote? I'm sorry. Okay. Has everyone voted who would like to vote? Yes, no? Okay, we're going to close the vote. Craig, could you close the vote? Okay, I have the vote on the combined 7 committee motion to reduce or amend from 350 to 100. Those in favor, 107. Opposed, 88. Abstaining, 3. That motion to amend has carried. So now we reset. The number is now at 100. We are now going to hear the Health and Human Services committee report, which further wants to reduce it to 75. Oh, I'm sorry. Share the vote. I'm sorry.
Hello again. I am here to motion to reduce Health Health and Human Services would like to replace 350 originally on
Hang
the
on,
call.
Ms. Steele, sorry, just read it and then I'll say second and it's before us, sort of.
So motion to amend to be 75 signatures.
Correct. That motion on behalf of a committee does not require a second, so it is now currently before us. Go ahead.
So I don't want to belabor it, but as I mentioned before, our committee felt that kind of 4 big points. 350 wouldn't pass tonight, and then we would have wasted our time in discussion and debate. Number 2, 50 was too low and 100 is too high. Number 3, the historical proportionality of how many electorate from 1930s until now. And then I think we really felt, again, I go back to my phrase, happy compromise. We talked about that a lot in our meeting, and we'd like to recommend a happy compromise of 75 signatures. Thank you.
I don't know of anyone who has signed up to speak on this item other than Mr. Bacon, but as I understand it, you are not speaking on every amendment. Is that correct? I'm sorry?
I'll do it. I won't take long. I thought about reading my entire speech again just to draw the process out further. I just encourage people that vote, because we're now voting on other amendments and other things before us, was arbitrary, just like the discussion we're having, just like the numbers we're discussing. It's arbitrary. The unintended consequences of what we're about to do are unknown. And I just strongly encourage you to think about that at this point when the motion to suspend or to postpone indefinitely comes up. But I feel very strongly this is going to come back and bite us at some point. So I'll leave it at that.
Okay. Is anyone else speaking on the motion to 75? Ms. Von Brockels, yes.
Sorry, I was going to save this for later, but because I didn't really know how this was going to work, I think I should give my comments now, and I will not give them later. So while many committees only address a subset of petitions, everyone should remember that Legislative and Rules gets to take all of them. As a member of LNR, I actually believe that increasing the number of signatures for petitions will foster civic engagement. Most petition items are driven by specific causes and proposed ordinances. When a petitioner gathers a broader base of support, it not only raises awareness in the community, but it shows the RTM that the cause resonates with our community. Additionally, requiring 100 signatures for an ordinance amendment creates an opportunity for the petitioner to get feedback and to be connected with RTM members or others that can offer guidance. This connection is crucial to ensuring that their proposals are well prepared and in order. We want to encourage participation, but many petition proponents have discouraging experiences taking these things to us with 20 signatures. They invest significant time and effort only to find their items withdrawn or not legally sound. This contributes to the perception of the RTM as a place of lengthy meetings and frustration, which can deter civic-minded residents from getting involved and joining the RTM. Online petitions can't get an item onto the RTM, but if someone were to come to my district with a compelling case and a change.org petition signed by 1,000 residents, I would listen. And the district or committee could put it on the next agenda, as we know. Anything that helps petitioners present viable proposals and to have an experience that encourages them to participate in the future is worth pursuing. Thank you.
Thank you. Is anyone else speaking on this item? Donna Gaudioso-Zeal.
Hi, I'm speaking on my behalf. I've been through this process of getting people to sign. I think one of the things, and this goes back to the previous speaker, is people do not know how to do it or how to do the process. And instead of, I think, raising the number, maybe the governance committee should take responsibility for shepherding people.
Oh,
before they
there's
come
no
to
more
us.
governance committee.
Okay, or maybe a
We're
special
coming back.
committee, or maybe a special committee of the RTM. And this way, when things get to us, they're in a better format than the way the previous 8 things have come to us. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you.
And maybe the committee that she's on would not have to put in this time if we did the work ahead and guided the public on how to do it.
Okay, is there anyone else on, this is the motion from 100 to 75. Okay, I'm going to call for the vote if no one else wants to speak to that. Okay, so this is the Health and Human Service motion to amend from 100 signatures to 75. If you're in favor of 100, you would be voting no. If you would like to see it drop to 75, you would be voting yes. Okay? Craig, you can open the window.
Thank you.
Has everyone voted who would like to vote on this one? Okay, we're going to close the vote. Okay. So, those in favor, 76, opposed 116, abstaining 1. That motion has failed. So it is still at 100. Craig, can you show the vote, please? Okay. So we are now gonna, the 100 is still alive and well. And now we're going to hear the finance motion for 50. Okay?
Thank you, Madam Moderator and fellow RTM members. So the Finance Committee did discuss this. I want to make it clear that in our discussions, we did talk about this issue potentially of disenfranchising our voting community. So it was discussed, it did come up, but we felt very strongly that updating a rule that's been in place for over 100 years and that was set in the 1930s is not a motion to disenfranchise our community. We settled on it. We felt that 20, the current number, is just out of date and not effective anymore. As we can see, we don't want to encourage frivolous motions, but at the same time, we don't want to make it too difficult. And so we settled on a number of 50. And the reason why we settled on 50 was, I think it was pretty much in line with the comments from Ms. Steele that basically proportionally back in the 1930s, we felt that there were 16,000 registered voters. And if you did the math and put it up, that you'd get to roughly 50. I think at the end of the day, the important point was raising the bar and understanding that, part of our job is to update rules that are out of date and that need to be refined. So we voted 12-0-0 to amend to 50, and then we approved it 12-0-0. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Bacon.
I promise the next one will be longer. Listen, we are saying when we're making these changes, it's now sits at 100. We're saying that only those with means get to participate, right? There will be paid and organized movements. This is going to bring about a different type of people We're trying to bring things onto the call. Someone said, if I saw 1,000 signature petition, I'd pay attention. If we see one person stick their hand up, we get emails to the full RTM. We should pay attention. That's our job. That's what we signed up for, right? We have to take this seriously. I'm telling you, I believe so strongly the unintended consequences here. It's very easy, especially if you're new to the RTM, to think 20 is really low. But that's the number that was picked when they formed this body. And we spent a total of 2 weeks discussing this, making a decision that is arbitrary based on very little information, very little context, very little data. We become subject matter experts overnight. Pick your topic, right? Our job is to listen to the people. Please, please, please vote yes or no. It doesn't matter. It's arbitrary. Vote to postpone this indefinitely or vote against it when it comes to the final call. Thank you.
Okay. Does anyone else want to speak on this motion? Okay. Carol Zarilli?
I only come up here once in a while. And I think we should think of who put us here in this room. It's the residents of our town when they came to vote for us. And when they voted for us, I think they're asking us for accessibility to us so they can come. I think 20 may be a little bit low, but I think we should make it as easy as possible for people from the public who have issues, who want to talk to us, to come. How often? I've been on the RTM for more than, I won't say, at least 20 years. In the past, this 8 is the most that I can remember in any given year that our public who voted for us came here to speak to us.
Okay. Okay. Anyone else want to speak on this motion? Okay, I'm going to call for the vote. So this is a motion. It's currently at 100. If you would like it to drop down to 50, you would vote yes, right? So it's the finance motion to amend from 100 signatures to 50. Okay? If you want to stay at 100, you're voting no. If you want to drop down to 50, you are voting yes. Everybody clear on that? Okay, we're going to open the vote. Oh. How's that working?
So, sorry. Mine isn't working. It wasn't working. I did, I thought I did. It wasn't. It's. Okay. That's fine. But I think that there's a few people who's aren't working. Okay. Okay, so. All right, but I think that there's some other people. Oh, okay. Got it, okay. Got it. I don't know. Oh, no, yeah, I know. Hello, Shaggy.
I know, we're rebooting the thing again. You're gonna vote, it has to get rebooted. It's glitching again. I don't know why.
Why no? I think I misunderstood the. I didn't believe yes.
Okay, can you put up the vote again? It should now be open. Okay, so this is the finance motion to amend from 100 signatures to 50. If you are in favor of the 50 signatures, you are voting yes. If you would like to keep the number at 100, you would be voting no. Okay, has everyone voted who would like to vote on this motion? Okay, we're going to close the vote. Okay. So now we have the vote on reducing it from 100 to 50. Those in favor, this is like 2019 all over again, by the way. 99 in favor, 92 opposed, 4. So that has carried. And now we are at 50. Okay. So there are this finance motion to amend. If you were in favor of reducing, yes, 99 to 100 to 50. So it's now at 50. Okay. Okay. Yes, Mr. Meskers.
So as I understand, we had 107 on the 100, but since we have now agreed to modify, we've dropped down to 50.
Correct. Yeah. So it's, what was it? 99 to 92. Okay. That is the last known amendment I'm aware of for the numbers game. I don't know if anyone's planning on offering any other motions to amend and offer a different number. But at this time, that number's at 50. And we now have a motion from District 4, which is to postpone the item indefinitely. Now, postponing the item indefinitely has the effect of killing the item without taking a dispositive vote on it. Or a vote on the merits, I should say, a vote on the merits. If that is the case and you vote to postpone indefinitely, that resets the number, what originally appears in the charter, to 20. Okay? Everyone understand that motion and how that works? Okay. Lucy Von Brockel is going to offer that motion on behalf of the committee, or I'm sorry, in the district, and Jonathan Cantor is going to offer some comments on behalf of District 12.
All righty. District 4 member Seth Bacon made a motion to postpone this item indefinitely, citing concerns that you've heard. The change is reactionary based on petition items brought to the RTM during the last term, that it requires a higher number of signatures, and that would inhibit participation, and that any number above 20 is arbitrary. The vote was 15-1, with me being the lone dissenting vote, so I'm going to defer to Mr. Bacon as the proponent to provide the argument in favor of the motion. But I do want to regretfully clarify that I misinformed the district regarding the order of motions and indicated that this would come before the amendments and thereby cutting off debate. So I don't know if that comment would have changed everyone's votes, but I would say that clearly it meant that that many people were comfortable with maintaining the 20 signatures.
Okay. Mr. Jonathan Cantor, the chair of District 12.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam Moderator, members of the RTM. On Thursday evening, District 12 considered item 27, following committee reports, and during the discussion, a motion was made to postpone the item indefinitely, which would have had the effect of leaving the signature requirement at the current threshold of 20. That motion failed with 2 in favor and 16 opposed. The vote was generally consistent with the direction of numerous committee motions, which did not recommend removing the item from consideration and instead supported increasing the signature thresholds, though at a lower level than the 350 originally proposed on the call. Among other reasons, members opposing the motion to postpone indefinitely noted the significant growth in the town's population since this provision was added to the town charter in 1933 and stated that the signature threshold should reflect that change. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Bacon. Okay, why don't you offer it on behalf of the committee? Yeah,
On behalf of District 4, I move to postpone item 27 indefinitely.
okay. That being offered on behalf of a district does not require a second. Mr. Bacon.
All right, this is it. This is the potentially last time you'll hear from me, or that's right. Thank you for clapping for being done with me. Listen, the vote matters now, right? Those votes mattered because we moved the number around. We decided, did we or didn't we want to go up or down? But this vote matters now, right? This is the opportunity. I trust everyone in here feels the same way I do. They care deeply about this town. But ultimately, this body has the power to vote yes or no on things, on this and anything brought to us by someone putting something on the call, 20 signatures, 1,000,000 signatures. We hold the keys. We hold the power. Let's show the town that we're open for business, right? Let's tell people we want participation. We want them to come in and be part of this process. The idea of postponing indefinitely kills the whole thing, right? And some people would tell you, hey, but then we wouldn't have taken a vote on the merits and sent the message that we were for it or against it. We never should have taken it up in the first place, is what the message is going to be sent. So please, I urge you, vote to postpone this indefinitely. Let's end this debate. We should not be arbitrarily and rushing to make changes like this to something that's worked for nearly 100 years. Thank you.
Okay. Does anyone else want to speak on the motion to postpone indefinitely? Ms. Von Brockel, yes.
Again. So I wanted to make a point about Robert's rules and what postponing indefinitely is actually intended for. Robert's rule says if an embarrassing main motion has been brought before the assembly, a member can propose to dispose of this question without bringing it to a direct vote by moving to postpone indefinitely. I don't believe the main motion to increase the number of signatures required to petition rises to the level of embarrassing. Postponing indefinitely should not be used if we can simply take a thumbs up, thumbs down vote, which is really what our job is and what we were elected to do. Every committee and district has debated this item thoroughly, and every member has been afforded the opportunity to further amend and then the item and advocate for their position tonight. Opting for a motion to postpone indefinitely leaves us no clarity and no record of the majority's will. Let's take this opportunity to see where we land on this item and ensure we have a documented decision reflecting the majority's preferences. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to comment on the motion to postpone indefinitely? Okay, we're going to call for the vote. So the motion to postpone indefinitely has procedurally just kills the item. If you are in favor of killing the item and not taking an up or down vote on the merits of it, you would vote yes. You do want to postpone indefinitely. If you would like to have an opportunity to vote on the merits of the item, which I believe we are now at 50, you would vote no. Okay? If the motion to postpone carries, motion to postpone indefinitely carries, you will essentially end up at 20 again, which is what is currently in the charter. Okay, does everyone understand what they're voting for? Okay. So this is the District 4 motion to postpone indefinitely. We are hopeful that when we get our new auditorium, we'll have Wi-Fi that'll work.
Well, the other one's still.
Yeah, so listen.
Like a bench.
I want to go to the podium. Madam Moderator, I had a point of information. If this doesn't carry, there is one more vote and it's between the 20, like 2 except the 50.
This is a motion to postpone indefinitely, okay? If that motion to postpone indefinitely fails, that means that item 27 is still alive at 50, okay? And then we'd have to take a motion to suspend the rules. I don't know if that would carry, but let's assume it does for whatever reason, and you want to get rid of this evening. Then you will take a final motion on the item as amended, and I believe we are at 50 right now. Right. Okay. So we're going to put this up. Okay, motion to postpone indefinitely. You guys remember what it does? If you want to kill the item and just be done with it, you're voting yes. If you would like an opportunity to vote on the item as was previously amended, you would be voting no.
I feel like it's gonna be on the,
Everyone voted who wants to vote on this? Okay, Craig, could you please close the vote? Okay, the vote to postpone indefinitely, those in favor, postpone indefinitely, 56 in favor, 133 opposed, with 3 abstaining. So that motion has now failed. Craig, can you show the vote? Okay. So where does that leave us? That now leaves us with an opportunity to take a vote on item 27 as amended, which is sitting at 50 right now. However, before we can do that, we have to have a motion to suspend the second read rule and waive that second read so that we could take a vote this evening. That, hang on, that requires 2/3 to pass. Okay, we will take a record vote on this. So is there a motion? Okay, requires, the motion has been moved and seconded. It is not debatable and does require a 2/3 to pass. Okay, if 2/3 doesn't pass the item, then it will just appear on the call in April as amended. It'll come back in the form which we have amended it in, which is at 50 people for 50 petition signatures. If you'd like to be done and dusted with it this evening, we need to suspend the second read rule. Okay, everybody clear on what we're doing with that one? Okay. Craig, could you please open the vote for the motion to suspend the rules, the second read rule? Okay. This is the motion to waive the second read requirement, and it requires a 2/3 to pass. If you're in favor of that motion, you would vote yes. If you are opposed, you would vote no. Oh, I'm sorry. Can you open the vote, Craig? Okay, has everyone voted who would like to vote on this? We're going to close the vote. Okay, Craig, could you please close the vote? Okay, I have the motion to waive the second read rule. Those in favor, 172, opposed 17, abstaining 2. That motion has carried. So now we are in a position to take a final vote on item 27 as amended. Is there any debate on this item before we take it? Seth Bacon.
Absolutely. Grown away, grown away. I'm proud of you for deciding to take an up or down vote on this. I look forward to you voting no.
It's Mr. Collins? So this is,
Different thing.
look at you wearing your nice little hat back there. Okay. So this is a decidedly different motion. Mr. Bacon has spoken on every independent motion. So now this is now a final opportunity for him to speak on the final item. Sometimes we have had that procedurally, but there are actually no speaker limits, or we haven't constrained anybody. So Mr. Bacon has the floor for the final time.
For the final time. Yeah, we'll clap for that. I think I've said everything that I need to say. I urge you to vote no. Please keep this at 20. I know that we think that we're sending the right message. We're making the right adjustment. This is something that we have made a snap decision here. We're about to do something that cannot be, well, it can be undone when I get 50 signatures and come back and petition, put it on the call. But I urge you, please keep this at 20. Please. Some of the people who have gotten up to speak tonight in favor of keeping it at 20 are people that I have debated and on the opposite side of points for years, right? For years. I've been on the RTM a long time. I urge you, keep this at 20, please.
Sam Rosenfeld?
We're going to keep this brief. I started off wanting to vote yes for this, but I have to say I've been convinced to vote no, and there are a couple reasons why. And first, before you vilify the people who wanted to vote yes, think about how painful this is right now. Think about those 8 motions and then add in dogs at parks. It takes a long time to dispose of those items. So the people who want to propose a number change are trying to do this in the sake of efficiently debating items and just making sure that what we're doing is an educated and informed decision. However, the risk of disengaging the public is real. We can't minimize that. I also say that, the point that really gets me is this frivolous numbers argument. I find it very hard to believe anyone in here has a very sound reason for making the number 50 or 49, as we were joking, or 51. You're just picking a number. We think it's higher than 20. No one wants to change it to 10. We leave it at 20, right? No one has a great argument for the actual number, but the main point is we haven't actually fixed any process. So if you replay those 8 motions that came before us in the last term, all of them could have had 50 signatures and we would have ended up with the exact same problem. They were out of legal order, or they hadn't considered all these different things. They didn't go through the process. They just had 50 signatures instead of 20. So lastly, I'll say, I do not believe D1 has that banner for the St. Patty's Day parade. There's a photo of me holding it, but I promise you, I don't have it. I'd be waving it off my car. Good night, everybody.
Jen Bird, District 5.
Hi, I'm from District 5 and don't want to take up too much time. I just joined the RTM for the first time this year, and I also came in intending to vote yes to a higher number, thinking that I didn't want to waste anyone's time here or my own. My husband and I have 2 kids at home who aren't in bed yet, and I need to get home. But I've actually been really impressed generally by everyone in the RTM and the seriousness to which people take these issues. And in listening to everyone, and part of the reason I joined the RTM is because I was concerned about democracy generally. And I feel like I wanted to get a better sense of how things work locally. And like I say, I've been impressed. And I think the argument that spoke to me the most is the idea that, yes, on the one hand, you want people to take it seriously, but I do think that 20 sends a signal that this is accessible. So whether people do it or not, if you read 20, you think, oh, I can have a voice. And I remember too, when we were thinking about petitioning to get onto the RTM, I saw, I think it's 25 signatures, and that's, oh, I can do this. So I do think that signal is important for our democracy and for the town, even if it does mean that we have to stay here a little bit later, which is hard. But I'm also really heartened to hear the dialogue, and also, I was thinking at first, oh, I don't want to hear just the 20 people, but then I'm like, no, this is a way for us to hear things that matter to people and to kind of have conversations with each other and to open up the dialogue. So I will now be voting no to the change. So thank you.
Kathy Steele?
I would just like to remind everyone that there is not no rationale for this number. It's not arbitrary. And the number of 50 is exactly 0.125 of our electorate. Remember in 1933, when we first set it at 20, it was 0.125 of 16,000 voters. Today, we have more than double that number. We're at about 35,000. 0.125 is 50. So I think there's a historical proportional standard that we should look at. I would also like to say, if we vote this down tonight and keep it at 20, I'd like my tax rate to go back to the 1933 tax, because numbers do change to match the current situation in our town. Thank you.
Yep.
I hate to disagree with my colleague on the 11, but this notion of logic, I can't explain it, because this is, we're speaking about sense of the meeting resolutions, not SOGRs, SOTRs. It has nothing to do with the size of Greenwich. It has to do with the size of this meeting. That I don't think has changed since 1933.
Okay. All right. Are there any other comments before I call the vote? Okay. Craig, can you? Yes. Could you come to the podium, Ms. Cirilli? You realize that by calling question, it doesn't actually mean you have a question. It means you're asking me to move the vote along. Whoever in District 9 had that.
Attention, you can say no to me. That's okay. I just want to clarify, if we vote no tonight, it stays at the original 20 to come before us.
So you are voting on a motion to amend to 50, okay? No, I'm sorry. You are voting on item 27 as amended, which is now 50.
Now 50.
Okay.
So if we vote no,
If it fails,
right?
then you go back to 20.
Okay, that's what I want everybody to.
Yeah. So it goes back to, it is essentially like the original motion has failed. It's just in its third or fourth iteration now. Okay? Does everyone understand that? Okay. Vote on item 27 as amended. So that's changing Article 13, Section 173 to 50 signatures. Okay? Oh, Aaron Leonard has a, but I've already called for the vote. Okay? So let me just explain this. Okay? It's important. Article 13, Section 173, through the process we have just done, has a pending amendment of 50 signatures. Okay? So if this were to pass, we will have changed from 20 to 50. If the item fails, we will have not passed the 50 signature threshold, and we go back to what is originally in the charter, which is 20 signatures. Is that clear? Okay. Yes, Mr. Leader. No, there are not. So you have, we'll do procedurally. The Board of Selectmen has referred it to us. We have the authority to take this item up. We waived our second read rule, which allows us to take this up on a first pass, should we choose to do so. So let's just review. Everyone understands. If you vote yes, and there's an affirmative vote, this amendment will carry at 50. If you vote no, and a majority votes no, it's just a majority vote, then we default back to what is originally in the charter, which is 20 signatures. Everyone clear? Okay. Craig, can you open the vote, please? Yep, he's going to reset it.
But you can still sign out. All you gotta do is hit the election.
Standard duties.
Free as well.
60 pounders.
Got two, I got 104 left. I've got 144,000.
You got me beat. I don't think you got me beat on damage.
No, that's fine. I want to vote. At least you're not standing in line for something. Yeah, I could. Oh, and he actually. Actually, they should have a dedicated.
Everybody get on with it. Except for final equipment.
All right, I think we're inching our way to the end. So the vote on item 27 is amended, changing Article 13, Section 173 to 50 signatures. If you wanted at 50 signatures, you are voting yes. If you do not want 50 signatures and you want it to default to what is currently in the charter, you are voting no. Oh, Craig, can you open the vote? Sorry. Oh.
Not going through. Didn't turn blue. Didn't. Hit red. Want to keep it the way it is.
Not going through.
Same here.
Right.
Not going through.
Wait. Do not turn in your clickers because a lot of people are having difficulty with them. Right. So a lot of people, it apparently has frozen again. Okay. We have no music playing. It is the internet. I don't know what it is. So just sit tight because if you leave and we have to redo it, you won't have your vote count. So Craig is going to reboot it again.
Try again. By the way, long time no see. How you doing? Pardon? Hey, you doing all right? You still living in your house? Pardon? You still living? Well, I heard that. Got your sword? Yep. good. No, that's good. Unfortunately, the administration is wasting time. I know. You're right. That they're losing this town. I've fought my entire career for that thing. Now it's happening. Too many projects. Don't like to be. Don, how old are you now? I don't, see. 18, 18,
All right, Craig, do you think it's working now? All right, let's try this again, okay? Item 27, as amended, Article 13, Section 173, for 50 signatures. If you would like 50 signatures, you would vote yes.
it worked, yeah.
If you do not want 50 signatures, if you would like it to remain at its current 20, you would vote no.
I gave her what.
Hector Arzano, if you're here, can you just step up to the podium? I think somebody had a question for you. Is he here? Hector Arzano, you have not voted. Is he in? Okay, has everyone voted who would like to vote? Okay. Craig, could we please close the vote? Okay, so I have the vote, the final vote on the item as amended for 50 signatures. Those in favor, 130, opposed 64, abstaining 4. That item has carried. So the new signature threshold for petitions is 50. There being no further business, this meeting stands adjourned at 8:20 p.m. 10:20 p.m. I was looking at the thing in the back.